Saving one of the very best for last, ladies and gentlemen. Um, Kristi, you and I have known each other for a long time. You are such a star amongst stars. Not only are you coaching some of the most extraordinary teams, team leaders, you and your
Yes.
husband ran this incredible business forever. And now I'm like, hey, Kristi, will you present for us? Will you be a speaker? Will you share your knowledge and insight? So Kristi, we have people from all over the world. So not everybody's going to use buyer agency, but everybody's going to get the same buyer objections. And around the world, we're going to hear all the same stuff. So everything you're going to share today is going to be relatable to everybody. So the floor is yours, my dear. Take it away.
I love it. Thank you so much. So, this is pretty exciting. And here's the thing, you guys have been going for a while. And my concern is, do we still have the energy? I need you guys to show me in the chat. Are you guys like, this is the third hour of, the telethon, and I need to know that you guys are ready for the next piece of content. Okay, Kathy says, yes, we are ready to go. So, we are going to focus on three things today. First, I want to cover the three types of agents we are seeing in the marketplace. Then, because I am a giver and you guys came to take, and I want you to take, we are going to go over some incredible case studies and the strategies that you need to work with buyers that we're pulling from the field right now. And then, of course, I want to get you, if you're confused and you're not sure where to start, we're going to go from confusion to confidence. And to kick us off, I want to start with the story, right? I want you to imagine that you have been working with this buyer for, let's say, 18 months, and you even missed out on some properties. You've put in offers, you've been traveling around, and finally, the perfect home comes up. So, as you go to write your offer, you notice something interesting. This home is paying a $1 co-broke. What do you do? That is the exact scenario that our client, Amy Taylor, in St. Augustine, Florida, experienced just a couple months ago. She was now faced with a decision. She could take this $1 co-broke, or she could negotiate directly with the buyer to get compensation. What would you do if you were in this scenario? Many of you might already be experiencing this. Well, because the client knew, because again, Amy had been working with them for a while, they knew the value that she brought. She was able to negotiate successfully a 2.5% commission to be paid for her. This, though, changed the trajectory of her business. After this moment, Amy knew that she could no longer go about doing business like she was. She had to change some things so that she wouldn't experience this in the beginning, ever again. Now, here's the crazy part, and this is what's going to make a lot of you guys mad. When she got to the final settlement statement, it was a 6% listing. The listing agent had actually taken 6%. Amy could have been mad. She could have, that nasty listing agent. She didn't complain. She didn't wish it was different. She just got better. And that's what I want you guys to do moving forward. So that brings us into the type of agents that we are seeing in the marketplace right now. The first type is the confused. And you guys know who these people are, because sometimes you're doing cross sales with them. They're agents that lack a clear plan. They're agents that don't have a support system, and they just seem to be just a little bit behind, right? The next agents are the complainers. Hopefully this isn't you guys. The complainers tend to blame everything. They blame the marketplace. They blame the MLS. They blame NAR. Anybody. Heck, those nasty listing agents are just taking these discount listings so that they can sell a home. Most importantly, the complainers resist change. They resist change, and that's not what we're looking for, right? Then we have the confident. The confident agents are the ones that are strategic, value-driven, and they are absolutely clear about their worth. So how do we go from confused or complaining to confident? That's what we're going to do. The first area of confidence that you need to have is confidence in your value. So I want to share with you another case study from one of our incredible clients, Janice Allen in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Now, Janice is hilarious because she would actually tell you that she didn't like to work with buyers. She had a motto. She said, buy a home or get out of my car. But that was when she was in New York. In 2019, she relocated. And she knew without a database, without a geographic farm, and without all the resources she had in her previous market, well, she needed to work with buyers. So she came together with a very robust process. And since relocating, she's closed over 100 deals with this process. And I know why you guys are here. You're here because you want to know what works, and I'm going to break it down for you. It all starts with her initial call and her intent. Janice is going after the appointment. She is going after the agreement. What's the fancy script that she's using? You guys, it's nothing new. It's LP Mama, location, price point, motivation, agent, mortgage, and of course that last A, appointment. She's going for the appointment whether they are relocating from another state or they are local. So she is flexible in her approach. If they're local, she's going to meet them in her office. If they're not local, she's going to set up a Zoom. Because she has a dialed in process, and I can't stress this enough, every buyer experiences the same thing every time. That's how you get over 100 5-star reviews in less than 2 years. That's how she did it. So they're going to go into her CRM. She's going to use the automations and the tools in her CRM, like this super fancy script that I'm sure you've never heard. Hey, it was great speaking to you. I look forward to helping you buy your new home. They're going to get that automated appointment message reminder, and then they're going to go into the appointment. Now, here's where she starts to stand out. Someone said, hey, what does LP Mama stand for? Location, price point, motivation, agent, mortgage, and appointment. Someone can chat that, someone can put that in the chat for me. If you are a Zillow client, you've probably heard it as ALM, right? Go for the appointment, go for the location, and go for the motivation. It's not a fancy script, it works. And that's why I bring it up, because a lot of you guys probably are using some of these strategies already. So she books the appointment, whether it's on Zoom or whether it's in person. And then she goes into her home buyer's binder. Some of you might call this a buyer's consultation, a buyer's presentation. It all means the same thing. It is a sit down, belly to belly, face to face, Zoom to Zoom appointment with the buyer to go over specific things. Now, Janice actually has an actual binder, and her value to the client is so high that if you're not in state, she will actually package this up and mail it to you. So if you're not coming into her office, you're still getting the binder. She has 2 different versions, one tailored for the relocation that's going to have some things that are particular to people who are not from the area. And then of course, the one that's the road to home ownership. The gifts and the tools don't stop here. What's inside of her binder is where all of her value is. She starts with everything that I'm sure you guys know. Let's go through the buyer process. Let's talk about your needs, your wants, your interests. She has an all about me intake form, which by the way, you guys, she's actually going to share with you guys, and I'm going to give you a QR code so that you can R&D, rip off and duplicate all of these incredible tools that she's so generous to share with us. She says a pivotal point in her process, though, is when she goes through the agenda. So here's a copy of her agenda. She prints off 2, one for her and one for the client. As she is going through the agenda, she's taking notes. She says, this is really important because I want them to know that I'm listening and that I care. Of course, they're taking notes. All of this leads up to, of course, that pivotal moment. Who pays for what? And of course, how do I get paid? She goes for the agreement and she uses a really fancy script. I'm going to share it with you. Her script goes along something like this. Sellers typically pay the commission, which is 3%. However, if they offer less, say 2.5%, well, that other 0.5% would just be added to the settlement statement. Here's our employment agreement. And then they sign. It is that simple. She goes in with confidence. In fact, she's so confident that she only signs a 30-day employment agreement. She says, I will get you a home in the next 30 days. Sign here, press hard, lots of copies, let's go. right? After she gets the paperwork signed, another group text goes out. It was a great meeting with you. She's really doing the, the value of bringing them in and truly understanding what they need. Now, the gifts don't stop there. Because she's taken time to go through the process, once they do find the home that they want, wow, let's start the sip sip hooray party. This is a picture of what the client can expect when they do find a home and go under contract. It's absolutely incredible, but it doesn't stop there because again, she knows that she's going to be the best agent. This is what they get when they go to the home inspection. She has a box ready with measuring tapes and markers and changing your address, everything they could possibly need. Why wouldn't you want to partner yourself with an incredible agent like her who has taken the time to explain the market conditions, what to expect when you're under contract? Again, she's delivered all of the parts and pieces with actual tangible pieces. Now, here's where you're going to get out your phone and you're going to want to scan the QR code to get access to all of her materials. I didn't have time to show you everything in her buyer's presentation, but she has put it all there. I will show this slide again at the end so you can capture it. And I know that the team will also make sure that you guys get a copy of these slides and everything that you need to be able to learn. And of course, I put Janice's information on here. I know she would love to reach out. If you reached out, she would share whatever she has. So the first part is you need to have a complete understanding of your value. Be confident in the value that you bring. Take time to understand what that is, because then you go into confidence in discussing compensation. I know this is where a lot of you guys are getting hung up. A lot of you guys are getting hung up on discussing compensation. So the first thing you got to remember is it is your mindset. You have to believe that you are 100% the best agent to help them in this scenario. Do you believe that? Ask yourself in your heart of hearts, are you worth what you charge? Are you worth what you are asking them to pay? In case they do have to pay, in the case of Amy Taylor, our very first case study. Most of this is getting hung up in your mind. You also have to be able to clearly, concisely explain what is your fee and what they can expect in exchange for your services. I see a lot of people saying the QR code didn't work. I'll figure it out, and I promise to get you guys it, okay? So don't stress out, come back, focus. So I want to show you guys one of the tactics that our clients, the Spellings in the San Diego area, are doing because it's an incredible strategy. When I was interviewing agents and through coaching over the past year, when we talked about buyer's representation, the number one objection that kept coming up was, I've worked with other agents in the past. They've never asked me to sign something. Why are you asking me to do this? How many of you guys have heard this one or are afraid that this is one of the objections that you're going to hear, right? I've worked with other agents. No one's ever asked me to do this. This seems weird. I'm not sure. Are you trying to lock me in? This is one of those things that I know is rattling around in your head. So how do we approach it? Well, one of the things that the Spellings have done is they have developed what they call their 27 terms of negotiation. Let that sink in. Why should I choose you? Well, one of the reasons that clients choose to work with us is because we thoroughly go over the 27 items in the real estate purchase contract that we will negotiate for you. I want you to put into the chat, how many negotiable terms are in your contract? Do you know them? Do you know how you earn your money? They've actually gone through and listed all of the items. This probably doesn't even count for all the counter offers and everything else that you're negotiating throughout the process. But you can see how, why should I hire you? Well, in addition to that, they've broken down, I love it. Robin says she has 43, right? 43 negotiable terms in her contract. It's important that you guys know these things because, again, you have to be able to understand the value that you bring and how you mitigate their risk. These 27 items is how I'm going to protect you, right? But in addition to that, they've actually also listed out the 90 ways that they will serve you and help you through the process. I'm sure some of you guys, I've seen them floating around 127 ways I will, serve and protect you. They've actually put it into their buyer agreement. And much like Janice, what they're doing is they are sitting down, knee to knee, having these conversations and explaining, this is what I'm going to do for you, and this is what you can expect in return. It's absolutely working. And again, the scripts and what you say is not that difficult. Here are 2 samples of what our clients are using in the field right now. When it comes to discussing how I get paid, I would love to represent you for any home we find. And if you choose a home that's a for sale by owner or a home where the seller is not offering to pay a buyer's compensation, a buyer's agent compensation, then we'll negotiate differently than if the listing has the buyer's compensation built in. Many times, sellers will offer buyer's agent's compensation. My fee is, this is where you have to decide what is your fee for representation. My fee is 3%, and it's typically covered in the seller's offer. However, if they offer less, like 2.5%, that other 0.5% would be added to the settlement statement at closing. Being able to confidently discuss what you will do and what you are worth. But again, you guys, it comes back to mindset. You need to understand what it is that you are offering in exchange for your services. So this blew my mind. I know a lot of you guys have seen this. This was an Inman article that came out at the beginning of January. It said 49% of the agents last year sold one home or none at all. I want you guys to think of it this way. If you cannot go confidently into the marketplace and talk to your clients, you are leaving them at risk to work with one of these 49% agents. Why would you ever do that? You wouldn't. But some of you are caught up in your head and you're complaining and you're not taking action. Tom, you look like you wanted to say something.
No, first of all, will you please send me a copy of all these slides? Because I love this presentation. And I think everybody else, I know there's some knucklehead out there, who's just typing weird stuff over and over again. So the easiest way for some of you ADDers is just to close the chat, not look at it, and just focus on what Kristi's saying. It's very simple. All right. But Kristi, this is so powerful. Keep going. I'm just here to hang out. You're doing amazing. Keep going.
Okay, perfect. When the boss jumps in, I just got to make sure he can say if he has something to say. You guys know how that is. So I want you to remember this, and maybe you even write this up on your whiteboard. I know that I am the best agent to help this buyer, and I am unwilling to let them work with a 49%er. Like, I'm just not. And if that means that I have to be able to talk about how I get paid, well, then by golly, I'm going to do it. Because the risk is that they're going to work with an agent who doesn't understand the contract, who's not understanding the market knowledge, who's not connected in with Palm Agent or Keeping Current Matters and all of the incredible tools. And they're just wreaking havoc on our industry. As Tom says, let's put them out of business by doing more deals. Guys, your confidence has to increase. That brings us to our 3rd case study. You have to have confidence to secure the agreement. So now that you know your value, remember, it starts with understanding your value and what is your offer and what is your process. And now that you can confidently have the discussion about what you do in exchange and what they can expect, you have to have the confidence to actually get the agreement. So I want to highlight Team Nest Builder in Sparta, New Jersey. Now, Lynn, their team leader, she's super old school. She's been selling real estate a really long time. And she's so funny because she says, Kristi, this is just a mindset thing. We've been talking about this for years. In fact, every agent who comes to my team immediately goes into training, immediately goes into role play. I want you to ask yourself a question. When is the last time that you trained yourself to ask for an agreement? For buyer representation, an employment agreement? When is the last time you role played? Well, why do I have to sign this? No one else has asked me. Does this mean that I have to work with you? And if you haven't tried it with ChatGPT, well, that's one of my favorite tools. But anyways, all of their agents go through rigorous training to be able to represent buyers and explain their value. They are prepared and they are informative. They look at the value they can bring beyond what can be Googled beyond the online resources. In fact, I'm going to show you exactly how Lynn presents it. She says, this is our employment agreement. She puts it on the table and she says, I'm going to be your personal shopper. I am your concierge. Now, this picture's not super sexy, but here's what you'll notice. This is everything that is gone over. And you know what's in there? An exclusive employment agreement. She says, Kristi, this is just another piece of paper to sign. Don't make it something that it's not. I want you guys to let that sink in. Some of you guys are blowing this out of proportion. Don't talk yourself out of a deal. You would never have someone come and work on your house. Merry Christmas to me, I have to get a new roof. Do you think I'm going to let someone come into my house and work on my roof without knowing what they charge and what I can expect? None of you would do that. Your employment agreement is just another piece of paper, and it starts with your mindset. So here, I promise to give you guys some hard truths. The first one is you need to take action and embrace change. Stop complaining. Stop complaining on Facebook. Stop complaining in the office. Just stop. Because while you guys are complaining, someone else is practicing their scripts and getting another buyer contract. So make a commitment today that if you find yourself resisting change, if you find yourself upset that the seller did this, change your state and take action. Next thing is you have to have a strategy. In 2024, you cannot just show up with an MLS plano and expect to win them over. Because Janice is showing up with sip, sip, hooray. Right? Like you have to do more. You have to earn your commission. And that means, what can I bring to the table that's not Googleable? Well, I noticed that you like your pool. You know, if you put your pool on the west side of the home, you'll get more exposure and da 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 da. Now all of a sudden they're like, wow, she's so knowledgeable. You have to bring the value. And I want you to ask yourself this question. How? How am I saving my client time by representing them? How am I saving them money by representing them? In the case like Amy, where she actually had to ask for 2.5%, how are you saving them the mental headache? You need a new roof? No worry, I got you. Here's my 3 people. I got you. Let me help you through this. Your expertise, because you're not a 49%er. You're not. Your expertise in negotiation and strategy is going to help them win in this marketplace. And then let's make it fun. Let's make real estate fun, because sometimes it sucks. Let's be honest, moving is not always fun. If you can do those 5 things for your client, they will choose you every time. So stop seeing these changes as punishment and embrace them as opportunities. So here are my final thoughts for you guys. Take note. Cultivate your mindset. That's how you get confidence. Trust in the value that you bring. Start telling yourself you are worth it. Start practicing it. Activate your RAS. See the value that you bring to the marketplace. Communicate clearly. Transparency is good. This is good for our industry. It's good for your business. Some people will not survive in this new climate. It's good for us because we are confident. You have to adapt and grow. If it's not, I'm here in Phoenix. They just changed us from showing time to a line showing. I could take a whole day and complain and be like, why the heck did they do that? Or I can say, okay, how do I use this to do better for my client? Adapt and change. If it's not your MLS changing something, it's your broker changing something, it's NAR, it doesn't matter. Pick it up and go, right? And then here's the big thing. You spent today. You came here to do something. Take action. You've been taking notes, right? What are you going to take action on? Now, here's the best part, you guys. Our clients have access to all of these case studies. We have an entire playbook built on buyer representation and buyer presentation. So if that's something that interests you, you should absolutely be checking that out because it's in a loom. And for our coaching clients, if you haven't checked this out, like I'm going to tell your coach, okay? That's going to be your assignment. Go into the buyer playbook, look at those buyer guides because it's going to change your life. I want you guys to leave today's webinar, go into the marketplace and make a positive, confident impact. So I'm going to show the QR code. If it doesn't work, I'm super sorry, but I promise you, I'll post it on my Instagram. I'll give it to Tom, their team. So if it doesn't work, I apologize. It's just a technical glitch. It's not the end of the world. I will get you all of the resources that you need.
Kristi, you brought the heat. This was one of the absolute best presentations of the day. Thank you so much. And I was just watching, so Kaylin says, oh my gosh, if she's a coach, she is whooping me into shape. Kaylin, she is a coach. Kristi, do you have any room in your schedule? I know that's a hard question. Right? There's like thousands of people
That's a tricky
question.
Here's the thing. I love our ecosystem. I love our ecosystem. I'm always willing to share. And that's the great thing is that amazing coaches in our ecosystem, many of this, we talk about this. I'm in a coach mastermind, right?
Yep.
We get together and we talk about, okay, what are your clients doing? What are my clients doing? How can we come together? And then we teach inside the ecosystem. So I have tons of classes in Illume. So if you're already in our beloved ecosystem, just look up my name in Illume. We got you.
Yep. And somebody asked, hey, is there a seller equivalent of this? Oh my goodness. Kristi, look what I just did. I had Ruby download Carolyn Young's entire listing presentation exactly as Jackie Othen, one of our 15-year coaching members, taught her to do it all in the, what is it called when you do like the little plastic over it? Whatever that's called.
Laminate.
So we got
Tom, it's
laminated. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Laminated. It's been a long day. All right. So, Kristi, this was absolutely bananas as always. I love you. Send me over the slides because we're going to send it out to everybody. We've got one last presenter. We're going to spend about 10 minutes with him. Jack, let's bring him in. Kristi, I love you. You killed it. Thank you so much for bringing so much value.